Oh, all right, baby. We're live. Welcome to the Gridiron. Basically, where we talk about how great the New York football Giants are and how badly the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys blow. Oh, baby. Welcome to the Gridiron. If you like this video, maybe share it. That'd be freaking awesome. Also, if you're not subscribed, please get down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, if I put a video on, you'll be notified. Also, I'll make sure if you're watching on YouTube, a little ways down in the description box, there's two additional links. The one takes you to my Facebook group. We have over 9,100 members in the group. It's doing simply phenomenal, might I add. Then there's another link underneath that takes you to my Twitter account. Basically, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. And then also, the description box below takes you to my membership page if you want to support my channel. Right, I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I've got called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. Well, the good old Giants. Got a lot going on here. A lot going on. Well, apparently Malik Nabers is rocking number 1. Not a big fan of it. Not a big fan of it all. Hold on a second. Hold on. Not a big fan of that at all. This is the third time that the New York Giants have taken a number out of retirement. When the number's retired, the number's retired. Sorry. And the thing that pisses me off about this one is, one thing, I'm an old-time fart. I know. I need to get a life. I know. I get it. But the thing that pissed me off about this one is, pardon the pun, this one, right, is that not only, Ray Flaherty, number 1, but it's not only it's the first number the Giants retired, it's the first number in the NFL history. And I'm not sure. It could be, I don't know. Don't know. Should know. I'm talking about it, but maybe in the history of sports, I'm not, or the 4, basketball, hockey, baseball. I don't know. That I don't know. But it's the first number in the history of the NFL to be retired. And you're taking it. I can't stand that. Sorry, guy. The number's retired. Sorry. As I said, this is the third time they've taken a number out of retirement. Well, we had Ward Cuff, number 14. His number was retired. We got Y.A. Tittle, 1961. He asked to have the number, from Ward Cuff. They took that out of retirement. Now, then they put it back in retirement. It's like, now every number 14 is retired for 2 guys, Ward Cuff and Y.A. Tittle. Guy Len Grant, number 3. And this one's kind of a kicker to me. I don't quite get this one, don't understand it. But Len Grant, number 3, 1931 and 1937 was a lineman for the Giants. Was very good. I mean, I think he was like a all pro, all NFL, whatever they want to call it, for I think 1 year. But he was on the championship team in 1934. Apparently, what I understand, he was going to plan to be on the team in 1938. Unfortunately for him, I think it was August 12th, 1938. He was playing. It was one of the M's. It was either Massachusetts or Maine where he lived. He was playing a round of golf, and he wasn't playing around where he was on a golf course. So I'm assuming he was playing a round of golf. He was trying to take a refuge from a storm. And I think you know where I'm going with this one. And while he was on a golf course, I guess maybe he took refuge, I don't know, by a tree. I don't know, but you can guess what happened. He got struck by a bolt of lightning and he died. They retired his number 3, right? Fast forward almost 30 years, 1966, the Giants get some guy by the name of Pete Gogolak who wanted the number 3. Yeah, we'll take it out of retirement. Sure, we'll dust it off. We'll give it to you, Pete. No, they gave it to Pete, and I don't know. Pete was with the Giants from 66 to 74. After 74, actually, he was in the preseason. I think it's maybe Bill Orange Parker. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Should know more on that subject, but I don't. But he did make it to the preseason in 1975. He just did not make the team. We wound up getting our last straight-on kicker, George Hunt, who I think was what the hell was he? He did not do very good in field goal kicking department. I do know he had to kick the game-winning field goal against Buffalo on Monday night. Big upset there, baby. Giants going to Buffalo and upset the Bills on Monday night, 17-14. Man, but that was the last one of the last straight-on kickers the Giants had, I guess, shall we say, or possibly maybe the last straight-on kicker the Giants had. But they said it wouldn't. Pete Gogolak came around 1966, from 66 to 74. They took it out of retirement, number 3. The guy passed away. They retired his number, took it out of retirement, gave it to Pete Gogolak. Once Pete Gogolak, didn't play football, he retired, the number stayed in circulation. I don't know. Ray Flaherty, they retired the number back in the 30s after he stopped playing for the Giants. He wound up having a very good coaching career with the Redskins. Sorry if I offend anybody by saying Redskins, but that's what they were called. Sorry. My bad. Hope I don't offend nobody. But it is number 1. And as I said, it's the first number ever retired in the history of the NFL. And now they're taking it out. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The number's retired for a reason. Pick another number. There's, the Giants got 13 numbers retired. Well, if you figure if we go number 0 to 99, that's 100 numbers, right? You have 87 other numbers. Graham Gano is not going to be, you like number 9, cool. Hey, all right. Well, pick number whatever. Graham Gano is not going to be here for the next 37 years. Hopefully Malik Nabers will be, right? When Graham Gano is gone, you got number 9. When Jamie Gillian goes or whatever you want numbers there, right? If you want one of those, but 1, 4, and 7 you can't touch. Sorry, not happening. Tuffy Lehman's or Alphonse Tuffy Lehman's number 4. Mel Hine number 7 and Ray Flaherty number 1. Sorry, we're showing our due respect to those guys. The number's retired. Don't like it at all. Don't like it at all. But let's see. So we got Giants taking historic. The historic is historic. We're talking big time here. Absolutely. Out of retirement for Malik Nabers. So now I wonder if they're going. If right per se, if he does real well, then I'm kind of interested to see. Hide. There you go. Comments. There we go. If Malik Nabers does very well, kind of interesting to say, are they going to retire, and then retire for 2 guys, Malik Nabers? It's like some guy comes along, I want number 56. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, we'll just take it out of retirement. Sure, we'll dust it off. Yeah, you got number 56. Oh, you want number 92? Yeah, it's retired. Yeah, we don't care. We'll take it out of retirement. Don't like it at all. Don't like it at all. The number's retired. Pick another number. Sorry. Don't like it. The Giants are putting their first retired number back in the service for sensational work. I can't stand this. Absolutely can't stand this. And the first number ever retired. Don't like it. Giants announced, can you get the feeling I don't like it? Giants announced Wednesday that Nabers will wear number 1 this season. The number was retired by Giants in 1935, coinciding with the retirement of Ray Flaherty. His first number retired in pro football history. Decision came after talks between Giants co-owner and chief executive John Mara and Ray Flaherty Jr. The team said, nope. Nabers wore number 9 since being drafted, but the LSU product needed a different number because Giants punter Graham Gano. Really? Somebody's smoking something here. Their punter, Graham Gano. I didn't think Graham Gano punted. Is number 9. He wore number 8 at LSU, but that belongs to Daniel Jones. Now, right? If you want 9, if you want 8. Graham Gano is not going to be here forever, right? Daniel Jones, this might be his last year. So, there's a good chance within the next year or two you're going to get your pick of numbers. If Jamie Gillian's gone, you can get number 6. If Drew Lock is gone, you can get one of those numbers. Absolutely can't stand this. Can't stand it. Going to represent their family's retired number well, Nabers said in a statement released by the team. I'm going to try my best. I'm grateful that they chose the opportunity to unretire the jersey and let me wear it. I'm going to wear it with pride. Nabers refused to speak to the media in the locker room after practice Wednesday. Team spokesman said that the number 6 overall pick in the draft would talk Thursday. The Giants said Nabers had asked Mara whether the number might be used again. Nope. And the owner asked for some. Nope. No, absolutely not. Asked the surviving members of the Flaherty family. The co-owner said he would not have approached activating the number without the approval of Ray Jr. Nope. Absolutely freaking not. Flaherty was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1976 as a coach. He was a very, very good coach. He played for the Giants from 28 and 29 and from 31 to 35 and helped them advance to the NFL championship game in 33, 34, and 35. Flaherty, who introduced the screen pass, finished with an 80, 37, and 5 records as a coach of the Boston Redskins, the Washington Redskins, the New York Yankees, and the Chicago Hornets. Interestingly, he won 2 titles with Washington. He died in 1994. Yeah, so he was a very good coach. He was a very good player and a very good coach. So, I said So we got, let's say the thing I'm saying. Let's say Nabers' first round pick wore jersey number 8 at LSU and switched to number 9 in training camp before John Mara received the green light from Flaherty. It was made aware of all retired single numbers, including Tuffy Lehman's number 4, Mel Hine number 7 in Giants history. Began exploring other options to no avail. Drew Lock wears number 2, with Jamie Gillian is number 6. Number 8 is, of course, Daniel Jones. And number 9 is, is Graham Gano. One of those single-digit numbers will be coming available soon. So, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Wear it well, right? So, yeah. But if it's up to me, I'm not. I'm not on retiring numbers. But it is what it is. I'm sure he will wear it well. And hey, who knows? Maybe the same thing will happen with the number 14. Right? We got Y.A. Tittle and Ward Cuff. Right? Maybe we'll have it with Ray Flaherty and Malik Nabers. The thing is, I just don't like it because it's like you're going to have some guy coming out. Out of college, who wore number 56 in college. Yeah, I like number 56. You think I can grab that? No, dude. No. All right, how about number 92? You think I can get out of here? Can't stand. Or maybe we'll have another number 14. We'll unretire for 37 different guys. And maybe we'll have the number 14 retired for 482 guys. I don't like that at all. But so we got the Giants. A lot of stuff going on. I'll tell you what. You miss a day, you miss a lot. They placed Dyontae Johnson on injury reserve, but they signed linebacker Curtis Bolton. and made a pair of roster moves on Wednesday evening as they continue to shuffle their roster in advance of the 2024 regular season. The Giants placed linebacker Dyontae Johnson on injury reserve. Since Johnson was on the initial 53-man roster, he can be designated to return during the season if the Giants choose to do so. That was quickly followed by signing linebacker Curtis Bolton to the 53-man roster in a corresponding move. Johnson, who signed with the Giants as an undrafted free agent out of Toledo following the 2023 NFL Draft, made a name for himself earlier this summer. Johnson stood out in training camp and looked to become a primary depth piece for the Giants linebacking group. He impressed the coaches enough that he was given the start at middle linebacker in the first preseason game. He immediately made his presence felt with multiple big plays, starting with a sack on the Lions' second play of the game. Can't get any better than that, right? Fortunately, Johnson, as 95% of the Giant players do, exited the game late in the third quarter with an injury. While he was initially ruled week to week, it seems he's going to miss more time than previously anticipated. Now, they put him on, he's on injury reserve. But the thing is that what they got is he has to miss the first 4 weeks. And after that, they open up a 21-day window. So he has like another 3 weeks where he can practice and blah, blah, blah. I guess, I'm not sure if he has to pass a physical or whatever, but anywhere in that so he has to miss the 4 weeks, first 4 weeks. Has to do that. There's 2 guys that Giants can do that to. But with Johnson, so he has to miss the first 4 weeks. After the 4 weeks is up, then it opens up a 21-day window, where he can practice or whatever. I guess he has to pass a physical. And then somewhere along the line in that 21 days, if he's able to, I guess, pass a physical and he's good to go, they put him back on, they can put him back on the roster. The thing is obviously, if they put him on the roster, then they got to kick somebody else off the roster. But it is what it is. But they also have to, it has to be like, because well, he got injured a couple weeks ago, so he has to miss 4 weeks. Then you figure, when he got injured, it was about 2 or 3 weeks before the beginning of the season. So, and then you figure, he has another 3 weeks after the 4 weeks, so you got to also look. It's like, well, okay, is he going to be well enough from his injury in 10 weeks? Just say, 4, 3, or 8, 9 weeks or so that he'll be able to play football again. Because, the guy is, that bad, and he might wind up missing 3-4 months or something like that. It's, you can't do that. But he has to miss at least the first 4 weeks, and anywhere in this after that, the first 21 days. So, if he's good to go after 4 games, you put him on there. I guess if he passes the physical, he can be ready for week 5. So you got to, you got to kind of judge how badly, he's injured. Can he make it back after 4 weeks? So, but Giants, he did make an impression. That's for sure. It's just like it's once, and every team's got him. I get it. It's just with the Giants. It just like hits you right here. It is. It's like, the injuries. It's like, what the, let's see. It says, while he was initially ruled week to week, it seems he's going to miss more than previously anticipated. The Giants filled Johnson's roster spot by signing Curtis Bolton, a third-year player who has previously spent time with the Lions and the Raiders. Bolton has almost exclusively played special teams in the NFL, with just 16 defensive snaps in 23 career games, 15 of which came last year. So, but they're going to keep shuffling. They came out with their, obviously, the initial, right, 53. It's never going to be set in stone. It's always fluid. There's never going to be a point in time, where it's like, all right, we're good. We don't have to touch it now because you're going to play a game. 2 or 3 guys or whatever might wind up getting injured or whatever. So it's always, So let's see. DJ James visiting Giants for a practice squad spot. James was waived by the Seahawks on Tuesday. With the Seattle Seahawks practice squad nearly filled, it appears as if recently waived rookie cornerback DJ James will start week 1 on the regular season somewhere else. ESPN's Brady Henderson noted on Wednesday that while James could land on the Seahawks practice squad at some point, the former Auburn standout is scheduled to visit the New York Giants to be on their practice squad. I think James could end up back on Seattle's practice squad at a later date, though the Giants and other teams are interested. I'm told he's set to head to New York to meet with them about potentially joining their practice squad. Let's see here. James was waived by the Seahawks on Tuesday after an inconsistent training camp and preseason. He was the only player from Seattle's 2024 draft class not to make the active roster. The Seahawks have 2 vacant spots on the practice squad. Well, it doesn't matter to me. If James does sign with the Giants, a 6th-round pick would become the highest Seahawks rookie to not be with the team in some capacity, active roster, practice squad, or injury list, for week 1 of a regular season since defensive end Obin Kwacham, also a 6th-round pick back in 2015. So usually, that just goes to show you, right? Like good teams, right? At least with their drafts, right? Guys, at least that initial year, right? That, if it's 2020, the draft class from 2020, they all make the team. I mean, obviously, you're going back 50 years or whatever, 40, 50 years, If they drafted 10, whatever, 1970, you could just start looking at it, They draft, like, say, 15 players back then. 4 of them might have made the roster. It was really, sometimes really, one more time for the hearing impaired, really hit or miss back then. If you just start looking at the history of it, holy cow! I think it was the '67 draft. Let me pull this up. This is holy crap. The Giants didn't have a number 1 pick in '67, so let me type this up here. New York Giants draft history. 1967. Only 1 guy made the Giants team. Only 1 other player in the 1967 draft actually had any type of a career. Actually, he got drafted by the Giants. He didn't start playing for whatever reason until 1970, I think it was, with the Bengals. He actually wound up being a pretty good punter. He was like an all-pro for a couple of years. He was a good punter, but he got drafted as a quarterback. But he wound up being a good punter. I think he played like 4 years with the Bengals, and his career was over. The Giants only had there was only 2 players in the '67 draft that did. Once again, was it a 1st and 2nd round pick they didn't have? Let me look here. 67. Okay. Oh, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Oh my God. Well, I know a couple of them were probably from Fran Tarkenton. But let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They drafted 12 guys. Scott Eaton was the only one to actually play for the Giants. They drafted 12 players. 2 out of the 12 had football careers. The worst draft in the Giants' history, 1967. The other guy was Dave Lewis. He wound up playing for the 1973 for the Cincinnati Bengals. And actually, he wound up he got drafted as a quarterback from Stanford. But he wound up being their punter. And actually, I said he was a pretty good punter. 4 years. 1970, he was an all-pro. All-pro? Yeah, first team all-pro. He averaged 46.2 yards a punt in 1970. 1971, he averaged 44.8. He had a good career. 1972, he averaged 42.1. In 1973, 41. So his averages kept coming down, right? But 1970, his first year, he was drafted once again as a quarterback by the Giants in '67. Never played for the Giants. He played 4 seasons for the Bengals. And I said 1970, he was an all-pro. 46.2 yards a punt. fantastic. Really, really good. But I said, but the Giants drafted in 1967 12 players. 12 players. Only one guy played for the Giants. I mean, that's like, we're talking, that's not even hit or miss. That's horrible. That's another one of the reasons why the Giants stunk back then. They traded away a lot of their upper draft picks, a lot of them, right? And a lot of their later picks were just absolute trash, total trash. So the Giants, the reason one of the huge reasons why the Giants from 64 to 80 is like the wilderness years, right? They just couldn't draft. Horrible draft. I said 67, worst draft in New York Giants history. But nowadays, I mean, you draft 6, 7 guys, you at least want to give them a chance. I mean, for the most part, I mean, you look back at the Giants, for the most part, most of the guys they draft, and I mean, it has been the way with Shane, 2022, 23, and 24. All the guys that they drafted made that initial roster. And actually, for Shane and Dable, I mean, this is the first year they started letting guys go, like Beavers. That doesn't mean some of them won't come back to be on the practice squad at one point in time. But Beavers, McKeith, you know what I mean? So they, this is the first year they started letting some of the draft picks go, right? So usually it's like you draft them, if they're not super phenomenal, whatever, the first season, okay, but you want to develop them. And after, 3 years, you give them something, give them a little bit of slack for a couple of years and then see what you got. And then if they're not panning out, then you let them go. But usually Shane, said you want to give them at least 3 years, see what they got. But, usually, especially with most of the teams is nowadays, the draft picks are freaking gold. All right, let's see here. Oops. Giants signed 15 players to the practice squad. Now, once again, this is, this is all, fluid. I mean, these guys are going to come and go. I mean, you have somebody on the practice squad, you let them go 2 days later, they can be back on the practice squad. It's like, you need a scorecard to keep up with this stuff. This is just crazy. All but one of the practice squad players was with the Giants in training camp. The exception is linebacker Ty Summers, who was cut Monday by the Lions. He played 67 regular season games for Green Bay, Nolans, Jacksonville, with one start for the Packers, for whom he also appeared in 4 postseason games. Like Bolton, Summers has spent most of his action on special teams. Last year with the Saints, he played 303 special team snaps and none on defense. So it's a lot of special team snaps, 303. The other members of the practice squad are wide receivers Isaiah Hodgins. Glad we got him back. Miles Boykin, really glad we wound up be able to keep him. That's freaking phenomenal because, there was obviously some word out there that there was a good chance that he, people thinking maybe he even might make the squad, the 53, but they let him go, and at least he was able to come back. So that's really, really good. Lawrence Cager. Jacob Johnson, that was good too. So at least we got the tight end / fullback combo going on there with Jacob Johnson. Joshua Miles, Marcellus Johnson, Toman Fox, KJ Cloyd, the guy that had 312 tackles in the Jet game. I'm glad we were able to get him back on there. That's good. Turbo Miller, glad we got him. I'm surprised, kind of happy that he was able to sneak through waivers. That's good. Casey Rogers, defensive tackle, defensive backs Raheem Lane and Alex Johnson, center Jim Morrissey, and kicker Macadamini. Jude, hey Jude, right? The international player from Rutgers. Giants receive an international exemption, so Macadamini, McAdamy, I'll get it right one of these years, is a native of Ireland, doesn't count toward the 16-player practice squad limit. So they have room for 2 more practice squad players and safety Javarius Owens, who was waived as a candidate to fill one of the spots. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, it's very fluid, very, very fluid. So as I said, you're going to need without question, you're definitely going to need a scorecard to keep up with all the all the roster moves and all that stuff and everything. So check. Oh, let me see. I'll turn this up here a little bit. Does that work? That works a little bit better. Okay. Hopefully maybe my mic will go a little bit better there. And then we had the combo package, right? You had Shane and Abel talking. Shane looked a little serious there, so I'm sure some of the questions he was asked, I'm sure, but he seemed very serious. Oh, let's see here. Beginning at noon, the Giants and the rest of the NFL teams will begin rolling out their practice squad, a group of 16 players plus up to one designated as an international exemption. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Okay. Here's our running list of the Giants practice squad transactions. Keep in mind that the teams are not required to fill all of their slots right away. So we got KJ Cloyd, and they got a little bit of a write-up on each guy here. So Cloyd had a strong finish to preseason, locking 16 tackles against the Jets, which boosted him to a 5th-place finish among league preseason tackle leaders with 21. Cloyd also had 2 tackles for loss as part of his preseason, during which he appeared in 2 of the Giants' 3 games, signing with the team after the first preseason week. So, I mean, maybe, because also in week 1, right, a lot of the starters didn't play, for the most part, not I can remember. So, I mean, if Cloyd played in that one, Lord knows how many tackles he would have had. So he might have led the entire NFL in preseason tackles if he played in week 1. Jacob Johnson. Johnson played well for the Giants despite having no time to absorb the playbook. His versatility can serve as a reinforcement for both the tight end spot and on special teams. Now, let's not forget, right? I mean, he was with the Raiders, so he spent time, right, with Carmen Basillo, right? So any type of blocking scheme, right? Not so much the plays, but how he thinks Basillo, want things being blocked and all. He does have some familiarity, obviously, with that, right? So, it could be a versatile player to have. Defensive back Alex Johnson. Johnson made the switch to safety and acquitted himself well this summer, showing instincts and a nose for the football. Plus, having some special team value as a punt gunner. Johnson has some flaws in his game to clean up, such as missed tackles. And I tell you what, if you're a defensive back and you start missing tackles, that's not good. You're pretty much like the last line of defense. Not good. But there's a lot to like about the intangibles that just can't be taught. Raheem Lane, safety. Lane was a late addition to the Giants roster. He's still working his way back from a torn ACL suffered last summer, so he'll continue to have that opportunity to get himself right on the Giants practice squad. Offensive lineman Jimmy Morrissey. Morrissey played mostly with the second and third team offensive lines this summer. Morrissey had a strong showing against the Jets in the preseason finale, staying in front of his man and moving well while also staying on his feet. Dante Turbo Miller. Fan favorite Turbo Miller returns to the practice squad as hoped and as expected. It will be interesting to see if he's elevated right away to help on kickoff returns, where the Giants still have some injury histories muddying those waters. Linebacker Ty Summers. Summers was with the Lions last summer, which gave the Giants a good opportunity to scout him up close. Summers 6'1" and 241 pounds. Nice size. played his college ball at TCU, and was originally a 7th-round draft pick by the Packers in 2019. He also played for the Jaguars, the Saints, before joining the Lions this past offseason. Summers has 60 career tackles, 1 pass breakup, and 1 fumble recovery in 67 career games with 1 start. Then the kicker, because of his international status, he was part of the NFL's International Pathway Program. The Giants can add him to their practice squad with an exemption to where he doesn't count against the 16-man limit. So, I mean, once again, Gano is not going to be here forever. He's getting up there in age. Let's hope he's still as good as ever, right? But, chances are, one of these days his Graham may not be here. So if you got somebody on the practice squad who's got a nice strong leg, and is accurate, right? So it may not be a bad idea to have the guy on the kicker on the practice squad. All right, then we got Isaiah Hodgins. Hodgins joined the Giants during the 2022 season and was an instant impact player, most notably going for nearly 200 yards total through the matchups with the Vikings. 2023 was unproductive for Hodgins, like most Giants receivers, but he's comfortable with the offense and has shown enough that the staff wants to keep him around. And sometimes, as we've seen with the Giants, especially with their wide receivers, they get decimated. So it never hurts to have, especially all those years when we wind up having the Shep on the roster. I mean, you can always count on that guy getting injured, especially if he started playing a lot. Sometimes we just get totally desperate, like the wide receiver position. So it's always good to have somebody, especially familiar with the offense, that you can just bring them up. It's almost like plug and play, right? Defensive lineman Casey Rogers. Rogers signed with the Giants as an undrafted free agent this past offseason out of Oregon. Through the preseason, Rogers played in all 3 games and played almost every snap against the Jets in the preseason finale. Lawrence Cager. Cager's been around the Giants organization since 2022 after making the move from wide receiver to tight end. After being banged up this preseason, he was cut before Tuesday's deadline, but resigned today. So it's kind of, you don't know. I mean, like with something like that, did he wind up losing it strictly because he was just like outplayed or did the injuries have something to do with it? But as far as a receiving threat, that's a good receiver right there. That's a good tight end right there. Right. I mean, it was kind of like, you got Johnson, you got Bellinger, and then they keep Manhurts, right, who is the blocking tight end. So possibly, maybe, kind of, it seemed like, which way were they going to go? They're keeping Bellinger, they're keeping Johnson, right? So if they're going with 3 tight ends, what is the other tight end what do they want it to be? Is it a receiving tight end, or is it like your electric football? Is it your blocking tight end? Well, they answered the question. They went with the Manhurts. Big freaking dude. Let's see. Toman Fox. Fox signed with the Giants as an undrafted free agent following the 2022 draft, but was yet to make the opening 53-man roster. In the preseason finale against the Jets, Fox picked up six pressures and a sack. Offensive lineman Marcellus Johnson, after going and drafted in 2024 in the draft, Johnson signed with the Giants. Johnson is converted tackle that spent his final season at Missouri playing tackle and guard before moving full-time to guard this preseason. Another offensive lineman. You see a little theme here. Not only that, apparently they got 3 offensive linemen on the practice squad, but they also capped 10 offensive linemen. So they got a lot of offensive linemen. A lot. So that's good. With a lot of versatility too, which is great. Let's see. So we got Joshua Miles, offensive lineman, has been in the NFL since 2019, spending time at both tackle spots for the Cardinals, Falcons, and Giants. He could be further developed as a swing tackle that the Giants have been looking for. And wide receiver Miles Boykin. One of the few draft picks on the practice squad, Boykin was expected to make the final 53 roster, but didn't. His special teams contribution should help if injuries pop up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. I know the Giants also. Oh, here we go. Whoops. Let's see. Giants potential waiver wire targets as a cut day based on league's transaction. Giants were awarded just one player. Giants were awarded one player off of waivers. It was Anthony Johnson Jr., 6 foot tall, 205 pounds, played his college ball at Iowa State, where he was a safety. Johnson appeared in 12 games last year with 4 starts and recorded 24 tackles, 1 interception, and 3 pass breakups. Giants have cut defensive back Gio from the 53-man roster to make room for Johnson. So, I mean, somebody, that was the thing. No Giants players who hit waivers were claimed by other teams. However, receiver Allen Robinson II signed with the Lions practice squad, and cornerback Darnay Holmes signed with the Raiders. So, I guess I'm not exactly sure if they were if Robinson and Holmes didn't sign with somebody else. Maybe the Giants were kind of hoping they'd wind up back on the practice squad. Don't know, but Holmes and Robinson are bye-bye. So that doesn't mean, right, that the Giants can't. The problem is that if like Robinson and Holmes are on somebody's practice squad, you can take them, but you got to put them on your 53. And I think they got to be there. I think for at least 2 weeks. I think it is. So. So the Giants were awarded one guy, Anthony Johnson Jr. Now, once again, I think he was pretty much his safety. So the thing is that they were awarded a safety off of waivers. So you bring in a safety, let go of a safety. Well, the thing was they had the 4 safeties, right? They had Gio. Right. Well, he's gone. Now the thing is with Gio, I'm assuming is that maybe he you have to go through waivers. Nobody claims him, which I don't think anybody really would. The Giants can plop him back on the practice squad, so maybe Gio will wind up on the practice squad. But they had Gio, they had Newman, they had Belton, and they had Pinnock. Right, so so now they got the new guy Johnson. So somebody had to go. So they bring in Anthony Johnson Jr. And that gave him 5 safeties. They don't want 5, so somebody had to go. So that was Javarius Owens. So he's gone. But I say he could possibly wind up on the practice squad. We'll have to wait and see. Now I said in the past the Giants haven't done too bad. Fabian, Moreau, right? Nick McLeod and Pinnock. I mean, that was a couple years ago. I mean, they struck gold with some of those guys. I'm not saying we had, but I mean, Pinnock's still here, right? McLeod's still here, right? Sometimes it just really straight up just really scratch my head. It's kind of like, it wasn't like. That pissed me off too. I just love saying it's Fabian, but I like saying Fabian. It just sounds so cool, doesn't it? But I mean, the guy did a nice job. He wasn't Deion Sanders, of course, but he did a nice job. And it was just like, he didn't do too bad. And we don't want him anymore. It's like, what? It's kind of like with Isaac Yiadom too. We wound up getting him. Didn't do too bad. And we just get the hell out of here. We don't want you. It's like, what's the area that's kind of like a little of concern, especially on the defense, right? The secondary, right? You had a couple guys there that didn't do too bad. Why aren't they still here anymore? Well, but I'll tell you what, the secondary is very, very young. So, unfortunately, you might have some growing pains, especially with the new system, right? With Bowen, new system, and you got some young guys. So you might have some growing pains. So you might have to do a little bit of wheeling and dealing with with that. But we got some young guys. I'd like to see, I don't have to maybe like hit it hard, right? Because we're gonna have Pinnock, we'll have Belton, and we'll have Newman next year. So it's the safeties, as long as if guys still stay healthy, okay. We could be okay with the safeties. I said if you want to add some safety depth next season in the draft, all for it. Or maybe in free agencies, add some depth, all for it. But let's I say it wouldn't be bad. Maybe let's see if what we can do with the maybe cornerback 2. And I still want Flott in there and everything, but once again, Flott's young. He's young too. Can he stay healthy? He's not very big, right? But I would like to see us maybe 2 things I'd like to see in the draft next season. I mean, the reason why in the draft is because it's going to cost you, obviously, in free agency, right? But I would like to see somebody next to Sexy Dexy, somebody who can make a difference, so, in the draft. And not only that, but let's see if we can really help bolster that cornerback position next year in the draft. I'd really like that. That would be fantastic. But all right, then we got General Manager Joe Schoen has spoken. He likes the team's chemistry going into the season. General Manager Joe Schoen likes the team's chemistry going into the 2024 season and is aware that co-owner John Mara called for a significant improvement just after the team opened training camp. Giants entered the season after a disappointing 6-11 record. What made the season a letdown was the Giants' 9-7-1 record the year before. And when they obviously went to the playoffs, had a playoff win. The second year under Dable, the team had several injuries, several dozen injuries, shall we say that, right? Including a major one to quarterback Daniel Jones, a poor offensive line in dispute between Dable and obviously Wink Martindale. Changes came in the offseason. The Giants are less than 2 weeks away from opening at home against the Vikings on September 8th. Shannon Dable talked about the team for more than 15 minutes after practice Wednesday evening, but the GM didn't get specific when asked to describe what significant improvement meant to him after 2 days of final roster cutdowns, making waiver wire moves and filling a practice squad. The third-year general manager wasn't going to say X amount of wins would make a significant amount. Dabes and I wouldn't approach this job without saying we don't want to go out and win. We don't want to go out and win, Shane said. That's what we are here for and what we work our tails off for. That's why we're here all last night with the waiver cut down. That's why we're out on the road all spring doing all the work. Speaking on a numbers topic, Shane said he likes the makeup of the team. He feels good about Jones heading into the season after his ACL surgery, and he believes the team's young cornerbacks can do the job despite some trouble in the preseason games and the joint practices with the Jets. And I said, they're young, so you might have, some learning curves. You might have to take the good with the bad. We've still got to come together, Shane said. I like the chemistry of the team where we are now. Some of the best teams aren't the most talented anyway, aren't always the most talented. They come together. They work hard. They know their assignments. Now, as I forget, you can always go back to, what whatever that was, 2011, whatever team, the Eagles with the dream team, right? Dream on, brother. I mean, you have all that talent, but sometimes just doesn't work out, right? Let's see. They know their assignments. They execute. We don't know how the team's going to react. And when we're down 10 or when we're up 10, when adversity strikes, what's that going to look like? Dable said he has an idea whether Nick McLeod or Cordell Flott will start at the cornerback opposite of Banks, but he wasn't going to share that. Shane believes rookie draft pick Drew Phillips is a solid addition to the cornerback room. No, I mean the thing, he's adding, we added Flott. It's kind of open, maybe, Flott could be, work out to be something, but we got Phillips. Hopefully he might be the slot corner, right? We got Banks. He's a cornerback. Maybe as I said, maybe next season in the draft, maybe we can finally fill out the third cornerback position. We got the safeties next year in the draft, right? I said, if we can get somebody next to Sexy Dexy, I don't mean let's pick somebody in the fifth, not a Riley or Davidson, or I don't mean that. Let's get somebody. Let's get a heavy hitter, first round, second round. The Giants, you go back to 2000, right? Giants have done pretty well drafting like defensive linemen / special defensive tackles in first or second round, going back to 2000. They've done pretty good for themselves. Let's get a heavy hitter, first or second round. Boom, next to Sexy, right? Kayvon, right? Burns, Sexy, and somebody else, man. The fearsome foursome, right? A nice wall right there. You got a Karake behind him, right? We got safeties. I'm not saying we got the greatest safeties in all of football. I'm not even saying they're a top 10 unit or not like that, but are they serviceable? I think so. Yeah. I said, especially with Nubin, you get Belton and Nubin some experience, especially Nubin. More and more experience, more and more knowledge he has, he's only going to get better. Right? I said, but if we got Banks, we got Phillips, who brings a little bit of an attitude to him. You got to like that. You need an attitude, especially if you're up there, you got to take on a pulling guard or something like that in the run game. You got to have a little attitude to you. So let's get another cornerback in there. Maybe help solidify, get that the three. So if in the draft next season, we can really get a nice overall young defense. I mean, because on Big Blue Kickoff Live, John Schmelk he said it like 13 times. He said, this is a very, very, he said, I think like 4 times, very young team, especially on the defense, especially the defensive backs, very young. So, you got to take the good with the bad. You might get some, might get a few hiccups during the season. I mean, as we saw going up against the Jets, Rodgers was just picking them apart and all that. So, let's see here. They said the biggest improvement has been made on the offensive line with the additions of veterans Tremaine Illuminor, Van Roten, John Runyon Jr., who just returned from missing 2 weeks with a shoulder injury. And it's just like, I think one of the things they were talking about, like with Runyon, like, yeah, Runyon, he never missed a snap, man. Then he comes to the Giants and he misses he hasn't missed a snap yet in regular season. So, all right, let me back off there. But it's like he plays with the Packers and he just runs 8,000 snaps a year. He just runs onto the field, plays every snap, runs off the field. Everything's fine. Dancing the Macarena and all that. And then he comes to the Giants and he can't even make it through training camp without missing a couple. It's amazing. Absolutely. No idea how that stuff happens. It's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. The Eagles do 317 tush pushes. The only way they can win a football game. 317 tush pushes every season. That's all. And all 11 guys do the tush push, and they all get up and brush themselves off and go back to the huddle, and everything's fine. The Giants did it last year one time. I think we lost 2 players on a tush push. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, God, I can't stand it. I can't stand it. Shane said the Giants only put in 1 waiver claim and were awarded safety Anthony Johnson, who was released by Green Bay to make room. Safety Gio was waived. New York also placed linebacker Dyontae Johnson on the injury reserve and signed linebacker Curtis Bolton, who spent the past 2 seasons with the Raiders. But I said the thing is with Johnson, I believe, is that, he has to miss the first 4 weeks. After the 4 weeks is up, if he's okay, he has a 21-day window where he can practice and all, and at any point in time there where he, I guess, could pass a physical, he's good to go. So That's a new thing. The Giants, you can do up to 2 players like that, where they have to miss the first 4 weeks, but then after that, you can bring them back. So, but I mean, with the 53, the practice squad, I mean, you need a scorecard. It's every day. It's the guys are coming and going. Guy might be on the practice squad here. He might be gone for 3 days and might be back on the practice squad again. It's just, you need a scorecard. But the thing is that the initial 53 is one thing. What the final 53 is, it's not going to be. I mean, whatever the initial 53 was, that's not going to be the 53 that's going to be on the field. Well, actually, they don't have 53 on the field, but that's not going to be the 53 that they have against the Vikings in week 1. It's just everything's just constantly changing. And of course, anytime there's an injury, that's almost, I mean, nowadays, that's almost like the kiss of death for somebody. If it's a significant enough injury, the guy's out for this, the guy's going, don't ever forget, right? Your best ability is your availability. There's the 2 things I remember. You can't make the club in the tub, and your best ability is your availability. You got to stay healthy, especially if you're, on the practice squad, or if you're just kind of hanging around just because you're really good on special teams or something like that. You got to stay healthy. As we know, it's the greatest to me. It's the greatest team sport. Now, soccer, right? You got 11 guys on the field, right? You got the 10 guys who run around, and you got the goalies. That's 11 guys. All right, okay, that's cool. When you're playing football, you got 11 guys on the field, right? Against another 11, right? But soccer, it's the same 11. And they can sub 2 or 3 guys out during the game or whatever. Okay, but you got 11 guys on offense. You got 11 guys on defense. You got Lord knows how many guys on special teams, right? So football, it's the greatest sport. It's the greatest team sport, period, of anything out there, bar none. But don't ever forget, it's also a business. So you got to stay healthy. All right, guys, it's been 57 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means well to me. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.